Gender studies is one of the most popular and rapidly growing disciplines for the past few decades. We see that more and more students want to join a program in this area. And also, more and more researchers are conducting research and investigation in gender issues. We also see that members of the civil society and other scientists, they are also taking interest of the gender aspect of various social and cultural issues. First of all, we will see, as the very name shows, gender studies is about the study and understanding of gender and various aspects of gender. It is a discipline which discusses the many ways in which the gender of a person may affect their status in the society. It is about questions regarding how the gender of a person can change the position that a person has in the culture, in the society, or at home. How different people's health, education, economy, political participation, and access to resources may be affected by the gender of that person. We must realize that gender is different from sex. We use these two terms interchangeably. Quite often, in the column in a survey or an application for a license, we see there is written gender, male or female. And at times, it says sex, male or female. We don't bother whether it's gender or sex. We choose M or F according to our own gender. But as a student of gender studies, we must realize that gender and sex are two different terms, two different concepts, and two different connotations. The distinction between gender and sex is made on the basis of certain characteristics. Talking about sex, we see that sex is biological in nature and physiological in nature. The distinction between men and women, a boy and a girl, or a male or a female, is made on the basis of these biological characteristics. This distinction is made in terms of chromosomes, anatomy, hormones, reproductive system, and other biological and physiological characteristics. Gender, on the other hand, has a social, cultural, and psychological connotation. It is more about what the society expects a person to be, like men or like women. It refers to social, cultural, and psychological traits associated with men and women. Therefore, we can see that sex is a fixed category. It cannot be changed. The biological characteristics, the genetic package that we are born with, they cannot be changed or altered. On the other hand, gender is more fluid. Gender can be changed. Gender is acquired. Social context in which we exist is very important. The social context, the cultural traditions, the cultural values, the cultural norms, they have an effect on the gender of a person. Gender, we see, is achieved. It is acquired. It is learnt, and therefore we can see that it is taught to us. Gender is about being masculine and feminine, and sex is about being a man or a woman, a boy or a girl, being a male or a female. Many people choose their gender these days, but we will talk about it some other session. When we are doing a course in gender studies, we have certain objectives in mind, especially when we are doing a course of gender studies for a student of sociology. First of all, our very first aim and objective is to acquire the language and the terminology that gender specialists use, so that we are able to understand any text, any research paper, any talk, any news item in which these terms are used. Also, we want to be well versed in the historical movements and feminist perspective, socio-psychological aspects of social institutions, concept of gender equality and equity, and the connection between gender and social issues, and gender and development. Because our purpose is to look at the social phenomenon and the social issues using a gender lens. As a student of sociology, we are already aware of the social issues and the social institutions. But when we are talking about gender studies, we will look from a gender perspective at these institutions and these issues. We also want to develop a balanced approach. We don't want to have a biased approach, an approach which is biased towards men or women. We want to have a balanced scientific approach to understanding socialization, gender roles, and gender relations, and understanding the link between human rights and women's rights. We expect that by the end of this course, we will be able to identify research problems on gender issues. We will be able to understand how gender relations affect relations between people and institutions, and we will be able to think of some solutions to the gender issues existing in our society.